All right, guys, it's a tough topic today. You've probably already heard by now, but the CEO of JD.com, Richard Liu, was arrested last week in Minnesota on rape allegations. And I just gotta say that in this video, I'm not gonna try and make any stupid jokes, because when it comes to a serious topic like rape, people are rightfully touchy. Damn it, yeah. I'm sorry, guys, I shouldn't use the word rape and touchy in the same sentence. That's bad. I'm sorry, I'm bad with these sensitive topics. I'm pretty sad about this news because personally I'm a huge Richard Liu fan, as you could probably tell from my previous videos. You know, I even sang that song about him. Richard Liu, I love you, tell me. I can't do it. And I'll never sing that song again, cause guilty Lius deserve no rhythm. And you know, just like a lot of the Chinese people are just as sad as I am. This was such a big story because Richard and his wife Nancy, they're basically like China's it couple. And you guys remember Richard's wife, I talked about her before. She was known as the milk tea sister. She became a superstar after she was discovered on the internet because she looked really good holding this milk tea. So of course it was a pretty big emotional hit to the Chinese people when something like these allegations came out. It's like how people in the US would feel if something happened between Kim and Kanye, or Donald and Melania. To the Chinese, it was just like, why would Richard even allegedly do this? You've already got the milk tea sister as your wife. Like, why would you go and look for milk tea elsewhere? You have the milk tea cow at home giving you that milk tea anytime you want. Well, it's not like Nancy is like some cow that Richard can milk anytime he wants or something. They're married, they have their own personal rules. I don't know what it's like in their house, but I don't know. This is a tough topic. I'm sorry, I'm bad with this. But this whole situation looks pretty bad, just as bad as this mugshot. Fortunately though, even though it's still under investigation, no formal charge has actually been filed against Richard. And based on how fast he was released by the police department with no bail and no travel restrictions, he just went straight back to China. The lawyers are saying that there's probably not much evidence against him. It's a flimsy case. There's probably actually nothing there. And in all honesty, in the worst possible situation, if charges were brought against him, it's nearly impossible to extradite Richard from China back to the US. So whether right or wrong, he's safe over there. So all in all, if we had to evaluate this scandal for JD, it looks like just a short-term blip. Yeah, the stock dipped, but there's no real long-term effect here. It's all just a bunch of hype, and the long-term bull thesis for JD is still intact. But I am kind of worried about how many comments I get on my videos asking whether people should buy or sell JD. Because honestly, the only true answer that I could give you is that it depends on your own personal trading plan. Like, whether you sell a stock should not be based on what I'm saying in the latest video. It should be based on the risk parameters that you set in the first place before you got into that stock. If those risk points are getting hit, you need to get out. And it's true, now that JD dropped, it's actually even a better value here. But here's the thing about value stocks, even if they're fundamentally a great buy, they might stay underpriced for a very long time. And what's worse is they may even go lower, like is the case for JD right now. Now you gotta ask yourself, can you handle that? Does your strategy actually allow that? And remember, even if it doesn't make sense, and even if JD is just so undervalued, the truth is that the market can stay irrational a lot longer than you could stay solvent. So in the Macro Ops portfolio, we were long JD stock, but with that plain long JD stock, we got knocked out a while ago because our risk control took us out. And even though that happened, we still had some exposure to JD because of our long-term calls on it. And the reason we bought those calls is because we had strong fundamental conviction in the stock and we knew this type of thing could happen. So we wanted a longer term investment without having to worry about the volatility as much. So we're still playing JD, but we structured it in a way that makes sense for our strategy and portfolio. So just because you might still be bullish in JD too, that doesn't mean you just go out and flat out buy a bunch of shares. You gotta evaluate how it works with your strategy. Which, by the way, let me know right now in the comments how you're planning to play it, if you're planning to play it at all. And here's another thing. Even though our team is bullish around the fundamentals of JD, we are starting to get real bearish on the fundamentals surrounding China itself. And you know that if China is struggling, that's gonna have a major impact on JD. And it'll likely keep JD's stock price low for even longer, even though it's still a great stock. And I'll actually be releasing a video on what's happening in China very soon. So if you're interested in seeing that, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that bell for a notification when it comes out. In the meantime though, check in on your strategies, rules, and figure out what you're doing with JD. And of course, stay fallible out there. Bye.